Hello guys, welcome everyone to the stream. Am I audible? Can someone type in the chat? Hello. Okay, cool. Let's start. So basically, you guys know about DevSoc, right? DevSoc is CodeChef-VIT's annual flagship hackathon. So since that will be conducted most probably in the first week of June, we are starting off with Road to DevSoc. Today is the first event of Road to DevSoc, which is Beyond Coding Ideas to Reality. This session will mainly focus on product management, right? So as we start off, we'll first have a look at the agenda. We'll first start with intro to product management. Then we'll have a look at what is product managers versus project managers. Then we'll have a look into introduction to product development. Then we'll move on to users and use ideas and user needs. Then customer development. Then we'll see some designing and how we can run experiments among the user to see that whatever product you are building, whether it is viable or not. Then we'll also have a look at the popular softwares which are usually used by product managers. And then we'll wrap up with a short quiz session which will be conducted at the end. Make sure guys stay focused during the sessions. The last quiz which will have a leaderboard and we'll screenshot and we'll show the results also at the end. So good luck guys. Yeah, so starting off with introduction to product management. So what is a product manager? See, so essentially, if you join a company as a product manager, what you'll be doing is you'll be coordinating among the UX people, the tech people, and the business people, right? So essentially, your job is as you can see, you're at the center of all these three. You'll basically ideate on what kind of product we can make, and see whether that can help your business in certain way or not. And if it is viable, then you move on and build on that. Okay, so on the right, as you can see, the average salary of SD in India is around 20 lakhs, whereas of a product manager in India is around 25 lakhs, which is around 25% increase. Right. That must give you a motivation to go ahead. So first, we'll have a look at what are the types of product managers. Firstly, it's the internal product managers. See, when you start out your job or career as a product manager, a company cannot give all its resources to you and have you build features on that, right? Which are directly accessible to users. So instead, what happens is, as soon as you join a company, suppose I join a company as a product manager today, I'll be building internal tools. Like as you might know, many companies have internal tools, right? Which help them in their day-to-day process, like emailing messages and stuff. So in the starting, what you'll do is you'll build products based on these. Okay, you'll give them ideas that how you could improve the internal tools and build upon that. And on the basis of that, you usually get promoted and you gain experience. The next kind of product manager is B2B. B2B stands for business to business. In this, basically, your clients, other companies. So you build products for other companies, and the companies have a certain user base, and that user base uses your product, right? And the next one is business to customer. This is usually the hardest one, since your product, whichever you are building, that will be used by millions of users, and you will be in charge of making the entire product, right? So usually this requires a lot of vision and creativity to succeed, right? Also, you need to test it properly between among your team, so that you know that this feature won't cause company a loss. So I think many of you are not aware and use these terms interchangeably. Product managers and project managers are not the same thing, guys. Product managers are responsible for the success of a product. Okay, the success is defined by KPI or metrics. The method by which they reach their goals is not defined, but it is up to them. But in case of a project manager, project managers are usually responsible for accomplishing a project, not a goal. A project usually has a timeline and budget as constraint. So I'll give you an example. For example, Suppose you're a product manager. Our product manager, basically what he does is, I suppose there's a cab website, right? And I see there's a certain feature I can add to it, and that might help in increasing our sales, right? Sales or revenue. So as a product manager, I'll ideate on that feature and see whether that feature can actually help us in making more money or not. But in in a project manager, what it does is, for example, consider you're building a skyscraper, okay? And if you that I- in that there's not a lot of scope where you can ideate. You're given a skyscraper, you're given the layout. That is essentially your project. You need to build that. You can't ideate and say like, I'll build 5 floors in this way and I'll build four floors in some other way. So that is essentially a project and there's a product. These both are different terms. As a product manager, you have the skill of project management in order to manage execution of a product. Okay, now we'll see introduction to product development. What are the different phases of product life cycle? Then we'll have a look at what is lean product development process. Then we'll have a look at what is agile product development process. Then we'll also have a look at two types of agile development, which is Scrum and Kanban. Then we'll have a look at waterfall development. Please pay attention to this section, guys, because we have a lot of questions in the quiz from this section. Okay, so starting off with the four phases. First come the introduction phase. This is the phase in which you get a product, you ideate on that, and you start building upon it. Once it's built, you show it to users. You introduce the product to users. Right. This is the first phase. The second phase of the product development is growth. Now you have released a product among the users. Now a lot of users start adopting to your product and they start using it. So your product essentially grows. Right, that is the second step. The third step is maturity. Suppose your product has grown significantly. Now it has come to a stable. It has gained some stability, and it has a proper customer user base. Right. So that is the maturity phase. Then you have the decline phase. The decline phase is, right. For example, the best example I can give you right now is Twitter. Like you might have seen uh, a lot of users are not using Twitter right now and they're boycotting. Also, Twitter is right now firing a lot of employees, right? So this is the four phases. Now we'll have a look at what is lean. The lean framework is a product development philosophy that revolves around cutting all the unnecessary work or effort until you're absolutely sure you need it. So suppose I'm in a big company and I think I have a product idea, right? If I'm following the lean methodology, what I do is first I don't put all my developers, all my designers to make this product. Instead, I just select one or two of them, build a MVP. We'll have a look at what is MVP in the later slides. We'll build an MVP and we'll see whether this can generate revenue or not, and whether it is profitable for the company or not, right? Agile is basically a way of applying the lean mindset to software development. Agile can be of two types, Scrum and Kanban. Basically, what Scrum is, in Scrum you have mainly three phases, right? First what you do is you ideate on a product. Then you put it in the. I'm sure guys must know about Kanban, right? A Kanban is basically you have three boards. You have one on the left, one in the middle, and one on the right. We'll have a look at this also in the Jira section. I'll just tell you in brief. So what you do is you ideate on on a specific product. You put it in the leftmost column. Then you shift it to in progress, which is in the middle column. And once that feature is completed and your team has stopped working on that, then you can put it in the finish section. And basically Scrum involves a few sprint sessions. So what you do is you have a short ideation phase, then you have a sprint development phase. So whatever you have ideated, you apply your all your developers try to apply that and finish that specific feature. And once that feature is done, only then you move to next feature. That is essentially what Scrum means. Kanban is also similar to it, but Kanban is a little less strict as in Scrum. Suppose this week one, right? Week one, I've finished the development. Then you have a regular meeting. In the meeting, it is usually called a stand-up meeting. Stand-up meeting, it as it refers. Basically, what you do is all the people who are there, they stand. It is, you don't sit in the meeting, you stand and you have a board and you move all the features and whatever you have done, you move it across the board to show that whether it's in progress or it's done. If it's not done, why it hasn't been done, you discuss all of this stuff. So in Kanban, you usually don't have these kind of meetings, but you just have a Kanban board, right? Now, what is waterfall? In waterfall framework, what we do is we take all the features of a product and develop everything at the same time. Like in agile, we usually break the entire product into specific number of features and we work on that feature in a single week. But in waterfall, what happens is you build all the features at single go. Okay. Now we'll have look at some of the doubts in the comment section. Yeah, you can use Trello, but we usually have separate software for product management. I'll show a demo of it after this session. Uh, almost all the companies use agile approach, whichever have like a big product. See, so basically, you use waterfall development when you have a very small project. Like, suppose I have to develop a link and break it into a number of features, right? So if you are developing something like a landing page, the waterfall development approach. But if you are building the website or CAP app, you have to take a user authentication, you have to do you have to do the CAP tracking, then you need to decide upon what will the fares be. Basically, this is a great example where you could use agile methodology and work on certain features at a time. Once that is done, you move to another one. Another example I can give you a waterfall development is your operating system. In your operating system, a company doesn't release it if your operating system is done half, right? They usually have a proper and stable operating system. Only then it's released, right? So that is a good example of waterfall development. Now, many of you guys might think that the product management role is highly creative. You might not have ideas. You might not be that creative, and you cannot give certain ideas to product. And you might think that then I might not be able to ideate on it, so it might not be for me. But guys, it's not like that. If you are a product manager, the product manager is not the idea person. The product manager is not solely in charge of ideating, but what the role of a product manager is, he collects feedbacks from various sources, and once he collects feedbacks from all the sources, then what he does is he sees which product or which feature is the best suited in that situation and which can generate more revenue, and he selects among them. Right. So that is how a product manager works and his main responsibilities. So from where do you get ideas? In the industry, we have a very popular term known as embark. Embark is short form for employees, metrics, users, clients, right? So these are major four sources from which as a product manager, you might get ideas. Firstly, from employees, these are basically your coworkers. Your coworker might say that, see, this design might cause an issue, or the placement of this button might decrease the number of users clicking that button, right? So this is one of the example. Metrics. Suppose for a successful message you show a red message, or even the color coding of a website. See, these all are various factors in which you can see that the popularity of your product is growing or not. You can use various metrics like you can say a revenue, whether your revenue has increased or not, whether the number of people staying at your site at that particular moment, if it's decreasing due to a certain feature or not. You can have a look at these metrics and you can decide whether to continue with this feature or not. Then there's the users. As a users, you might face many bugs, or you might see that this feature is not useful. Guys, Instagram, best example. They keep on moving their buttons everywhere around the screen. I can't find them. So I am not sure what is going on there, but yeah, from users. Then the next is clients. Clients are basically the people whom you approach to, who approach you to build up specific product, and you ensure that the product which they request is built. So is the question again, is user and customer the same? Okay, guys, while we go see some of the doubts, can someone answer this in the chat? I really want to see how many of you think about this question. What do you guys think? So PM is like, yeah, PM is a not technical analyst. Yeah, in a way you can say that, but mostly his day-to-day work involves ideating upon products, and building those products and managing them, right? So as a product manager, you need to see that there's proper coordination between the design team or the development team, so that there's no confusion that the design team might say that we have finished it, but the development team says that no, the design is not finished. So basically, you manage that, right? So, guys, so the answer is no. User and customers are not the same thing. User is someone who uses your product, right? Suppose I build a product, and user is someone who uses the product and gives you feedback. And customer is someone, like, see, you might be approached by someone to build a product. Suppose I'm doing a freelance project, and a client approaches me. He is my customer, right? And he is building an e-commerce website. Let's say he's building an e-commerce website, and he's my customer. But my users won't be my customer, right? He will be the people who use that e-commerce platform, not the person who's getting it built from me. So that is how these two are different, and that is how in various ways they can give different feedbacks, which might be useful to me as a product manager. Now we'll have a look at what is customer development cycle. So basically, customer development cycle involves three phases. First one is validation, right? Then there's the development phase. Then there's the iteration phase. So basically, first you see what is if a product which you're building can be helpful or not, right? And then the customer, you build that. Then the customer provides you with a feedback, which comes under validation, that whether that feature is actually helping the customer or not. Suppose the customer says no, this feature is not helpful, or he says that this feature could have been improved. So you collect feedback from all the customers, and then you form an analysis, and then you tell that maybe then you move on to the development phase, right? Whatever feedback you get, you develop on the basis of that feedback. Then the next step is iteration. So basically first I release a beta version, right? So that is one of the versions. Then I release another version, which I want to launch, right? So there might be various iterations of a single product, and based on that, you can get the customer feedback. So now we'll see what is an MVP. As mentioned earlier, MVP stands for minimum viable product. It is that version of a new product which allows a team to collect maximum amount of validated learning about the customer's effort. Okay, see, I'll tell you in short. Even in the hackathon, what we expect you to build is an MVP, right? In the review too, as you know, many of you guys are participating in hackathons, right? So basically, you build a minimum viable product. You show that this product is feasible, and a certain amount of features you include in the MVP. So now, after you build an MVP, you can show it to investors, or you can pitch it to your friends and get feedback from them, that whether the product which you have built is actually feasible or not, and is actually solving that any demand or not, right? So the 7 steps of an MVP process are: figuring out what your problem or solution set is, identifying your assumptions and finding the riskiest assumption, building testable hypothesis around your assumptions. Then there's establishing your minimum criteria for success. Then picking up what type of MVP you're going to run and your strategy. executing the MVP environment, and then lastly, it is evaluating and learning from the experiment, right? So we'll move on to the next slide. So basically, the next step is identifying your assumptions. You have assumptions that have to be in order for a product to be successful. You need to focus on testing the research one first, so that you can save resources. Like on the right side, you can see some of the assumptions. Like suppose my customer has a XYZ problem and my product solves it, right? So this can be one of the good assumptions. Next, dash matters to my customers. This product which I'm building actually matters to my customers. Next, dash will pay for this product. My customer will pay for this product. Or there are no satisfactory substitute. I'm 100% sure that whatever I'm building will be successful. So we'll take on doubts for some time now. Our MVP, yeah. So basically, your MVP doesn't have to include all the features. It need not be entirely polished product, but it's just something you can show to investors that yes, whatever you're building is actually usable and you can build upon that, right? Once you build that and you test it among a particular whatever what you do is you build an MVP, you test it in a small number of users and see whether the users are actually finding it useful or not. If they are actually finding it useful, then you can show the report to investors and say that this is an MVP which we have built, and this might actually be useful for the people, and you can go ahead from that. So, as a product manager, you're also supposed to know a little bit about wireframing. Wireframing are usually visual guides for websites or apps that lay out the structure for where the content have to go. Wireframing is usually the first step you need to take in order to materialize your idea. These are low fidelity prototypes, and usually they're not exactly accurate and they go through multiple number of iterations. Suppose you're a product manager on a smaller team, you'll probably have to work on the wireframes yourself. In larger companies, usually you have dedicated designers who do wireframing, but still you need to be familiar with how to do wireframing, as you might need to contribute. Like as a product manager, the entire idea is yours, right? You need to have proper communication among your design team so that you can tell them what you're thinking and what your thought process is. So suppose I'm building a website, right? So if I do a basic wireframing, what will I do? At the top there'll be a navbar. Then at the bottom, at the end, bottom entirely, we'll have a bottom navbar, and in the middle, in the header part, in the hero part, you might have description about what your company does. Then you might have something known as services section, then testimonial section. So as a product manager, you're supposed to make a small wireframe of the entire app or website so that you can convey it to your designers, right? Cool. Now let's have a look at what is the difference between wireframes, mockups, and prototypes. So basically, wireframes are made first. We draw the general structure or the layout. Some of the tools which are usually used to make wireframes are Balsamiq and Exterior. Right. Guys, make sure you have a look at this after this session, as I think this will be really useful to you. Then we have mockups. Mockups are basically static displays of what you have built, what the final product looks like. You'll have colors in this. You'll have proper backgrounds, images. These are usually done by designers. The main popular tools which you can use are Sketch and or Figma. Now moving on to prototypes. Prototypes are basically it is similar to they handle usability, right? They have basic interactions. Like suppose I have to cancel a cab, so I click and you might have a feature where you have a bottom tab and you need to drag the entire thing, and when you drag it till the end of the screen, the cab gets cancelled. Now if you want to show it to a developer that is how it works, what you can do is you can use prototypes and you can convey it to your developer. Right. In this way, there's a proper communication between design team and the dev team. So now we'll have a look at what is the risk difficulty square. Now, I'm sure you guys remember that we talked about assumptions. As a product manager, you'll have to you'll have to make some assumptions and see which of them are riskiest assumptions and which of them are difficult, right? So risk basically depends on what kind of assumptions you're taking, and difficulty of a certain product depends on the efforts which are needed. Suppose I have a very complex project, and that might not be entirely helpful in generating revenue, and it might not be that much helpful. I'll probably have to conduct multiple rounds of research to see if we should go ahead with that or not. So as you can see, this is the risk difficulty graph. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll have a session where I'll show you as a product manager, you can use softwares like Jira. Jira is a very popular software which is used in industry. In every day we use it in industry. It is developed by Atlassian. It is basically a product management software which focuses on agile methodology or Kanban. You can see all the things which I've discussed in the previous slides in the software. I'll just show you basic how to set it up, right? Just give me a second. It'll be great if you guys also try to set it up. It's a really good software. Yeah, so you can see when you open up Jira, you'll be at a dashboard like this where you can type whatever site name you want for your project, right? So suppose I'm typing CodeChef-VIT, right? Now it's basically checking. What it does is it generates a .atlassian.net, and once you agree to it and generate one, it redirects you to setting up your account. Um,
We're facing the internet issues. Okay. So basically, I wish you understand. Meanwhile, you can go to other doubts. Yeah. So presentation have been telling you and what are the basic features needed. Alright. If you have any doubts, just put it in the chat. We can all the doubts right now.
Hello, I hope I'm audible. Hello. Yeah. So if you guys have any doubts, just put it in the chat. We'll clear those doubts. Yeah. So basically, now we'll have a short session on how to use Jira, how you would go about using it. So basically, as you can see, we discussed about Kanban, Scrum, right? So in Jira, you can choose one of those. Then basically, what you do when you start creating a project, create. I just need a landing page. Then you can choose which method you want to follow, like Scrum or Kanban. Now I'll just put it, then you need to put a key. Then you can just click create project and it will create a project for you. Okay, since it's taking a lot of time, what we'll do is we'll go ahead with the quiz for now. After we're done with the quiz, we'll come back to Jira. I'll give you guys a link and the code in the chat. Just join the quiz. We'll have the quiz session right now. Guys, I've shared the quiz link in the chat. Everyone, make sure you join in as soon as possible. Once we have a certain number of users, we'll start with the quiz. Okay, cool. Guys, join with your real names. If you win, we might have something special at the end. Amazing, guys. A lot of you have responded to most of the questions correctly. I really want to know his killer rect. He has answered all the questions correctly till now. Amazing, Meet. You're also at fourth now. Akshat. Amazing, Killer Act. You finished with the quiz. Just put in your name, whoever it is, in the YouTube chat. We'll just wait for 1-2 minutes more. And okay, amazing. So first is Killer Rect, second is Mad Bonds, third is Meet. Amazing, guys. You guys are doing great. I'll just end the quiz now. We'll have a okay. Meet is now second. We'll might as well wait for some time. Meet, answer your last question fast. Okay, amazing, guys. That was a wonderful response from you guys. Now we are proceeding to end of the quiz session. Okay. Okay. Cool. Now let's have a look at this software, popular software named Jira. I'll give you a demo of the software. So basically, once you create a project, you get an options to select tools like this. Basically, as you might have heard, Slack's MS Teams, GitHub. Suppose I want to use these softwares in my project, then I select these, then I create my project, right? So once I do that, I get a dashboard like this. So basically, as I told you guys, in Scrum you have three boards, right? One is to do, one is in progress, one is in done. So basically, what you usually do is here in the sprint, which is the session in which you ideate. What you do is you create. Suppose I have a feature idea that I want to add the button, right? So what I can do is I can here I can add say add button. Cool. So now once I have added it here, in so this is one of the features which will work in the sprint one, right? Similarly, you can create these and you can put them in the backlog. And once you put them in the backlog, you can see them here. Then there's the roadmap. Suppose you want to plan out your timeline for your product. What you can do is, suppose this needs to be done. Suppose you need to develop app login system, right? So what you can do is you can select specific deadlines from this, that from which time to which time you want to finish this, and you can extend it or reduce it according to your needs. Okay, and once you do it, once I put it in to do, now Now it usually shows up in this part. So after that, you in the development part, you can see you have the code part where you can connect to various softwares like GitHub and GitLab. After that, as you can see, you have many features in this which can help you in your product management journey. Also, suppose you have a design team working on design, what you can do is here you can add a shortcut to your design file. So if I'm a developer, what I can do is I can see what all I need to develop it from here. And once I see this, I can have a look at the Figma file directly from the software and work in that. And once that part is done, I can just move it to in progress, right? So as you can see, even if you do a quick start in this, it shows you how to set up a workflow. You can even create issues. You can invite your team to this, and you can connect your various tools. So this is the demo of the Jira software. You guys can have a look at it. As you can see, worked on today. I have updated the app login from a backlog to in progress, and I've added one more issue, which is to add button, right? So you can use these features among your team, and you can try out the software. It's a pretty good software. Fine. So if you guys have any doubts, we'll take them. Okay, guys. If you don't have any doubts, we can wrap up the session now. Amazing, guys. There's an amazing response from you all. Uh, So we'll wrap up today's session. Make sure to stay tuned. We'll be having continuous sessions like this over this weekend. So stay tuned to CodeChef-VIT's channel, and we'll update all the sessions in this. Right? Bye, guys. Good night.